Archaeological finds that many people don't even know about. An ancient mask that women should not look at, a mysterious structure at the bottom of the Black Sea, amazing discoveries in France, a mysterious alphabet of a lost civilization, and nightly chess. Watch this video to the end, you will definitely like it. Hi friend, you are on the KirTop channel. Alphabet of a lost civilization. Spanish archaeologists from the University of Barcelona discovered tablets with drawings of the Tartessian civilization of the Bronze Age. The excavations took place at Casas del Turunuelo in the southwest of the Iberian Peninsula, as reported by Spain's Supreme Council for Scientific Research. Tartessus was an ancient civilization that flourished on the Iberian Peninsula in the 8th century BC, known for its sophisticated writing. By the 4th century BC, the Tartessians disappeared. The found tablet, dating back to the 6th to 5th centuries BC, contains 21 symbols of Paleo-Spanish writing and a scene of a battle between three warriors. This find will help scientists learn more about the culture, clothing, and weapons of the Tartessians. The study of such artifacts opens up new perspectives in understanding this mysterious civilization and its disappearance. Women are not allowed to see this mask. Oxford University's Pitt Rivers Museum has removed from display a wooden mask made by the Igbo people of Nigeria. According to the beliefs of this people, the mask is forbidden to be seen by women, and only men are allowed to use it during ceremonies and rituals. The museum posted a cultural safety warning sign and removed the image of the mask from its website. The Igbo mask has deep cultural significance, symbolizing spiritual strength and protecting the tribe's traditions. It was used exclusively by men, which emphasizes its importance in religious and social rituals. Art critic Ruth Millington noted that denying all women access to an artifact because of one culture's taboo is an extreme measure. She believes that women should have the right to decide for themselves whether they want to see a mask, familiarizing themselves with its cultural characteristics. The oldest liquid wine. Spanish scientists have discovered a glass urn containing cremated remains and a liquid that turns out to be the oldest known wine in an ancient Roman underground mausoleum in Carmona. The age of the find is about 2,000 years. Carmona, located in Andalusia, was a major city in the Roman province of Baetica in the 1st centuries AD. The city preserves the ruins of an amphitheater and necropolis, where archaeological discoveries are still ongoing. In 2019, archaeologists found the entrance to an underground tomb believed to have belonged to a wealthy family. Inside, they found 8 urn niches, 6 of which contained cremated remains. One of the glass urns also contained a gold ring with an image of Janus and a red liquid. Chemical analysis confirmed that this is wine that has changed color due to chemical processes over 2,000 years. The use of wine in Roman funeral rituals is well documented. Wine was added to the urn after cremated remains were placed to aid the deceased in the afterlife. This find is an important evidence of Roman customs and confirmation of the longevity of their traditions. Previously, other interesting artifacts were found in the mausoleum, such as an ancient Roman ungventarium with the remains of a perfume made from patchouli essential oil. Treasure from the seabed. Archaeologists have discovered 2 sunken ships from the Ming Dynasty in the South China Sea that have lain on the bottom for almost 500 years. More than 900 unique artifacts were found on these ships, from copper coins to fine porcelain. The Ming Dynasty is known for its artistic achievements and vigorous trade. Chinese ships sailed to India and Europe, where blue and white porcelain was extremely popular. Some ships ended their journey at the bottom of the sea, leaving behind time capsules. In 2022, 2 merchant ships were found at a depth of almost 1,500 meters and at a distance of about 22 kilometers from each other. In 2023, researchers began studying and collecting artifacts. Submersibles were used to retrieve objects, and cameras and lasers were used to create 3D maps. 890 objects were recovered from the first ship, including copper coins and porcelain. From the second, 38 artifacts such as deer antlers and ceramics. The ships may have sailed from Jingdezhen, a porcelain export center. The discovered items are striking examples of Ming-era art. The ships became important witnesses to trade and cultural exchanges along the maritime Silk Road. The longest mound in Europe. Archaeologists in eastern Bohemia have found the longest Neolithic mound in Europe, about 5,300 years old. The discovery was made in June during roadwork in the Hradec Kralove area. The mound near the village of Dogalice, about 190 meters long and up to 15 meters wide, belongs to the funnel beaker culture. Although the above-ground structure has been lost due to agricultural activity, archaeologists have excavated its entrance, identified by a preserved pit and ditch. Inside the mound, 2 central burials were found, probably belonging to important persons, and 28 additional graves. These burials will undergo further laboratory analysis for accurate dating. The first central burial included a pit with drains and post holes, as well as a ceramic offering vessel. The second burial had no internal structure, but the body was laid on its left side. Archaeologists also found funerary objects such as pottery fragments, flint arrowheads, and a blade. These finds provide valuable information about the burial practices and cultural traditions of the time. Scientists brewed an ancient drink. Israeli researchers decided to plunge into the world of experimental archaeology and create a drink that our ancestors drank. It all started with the discovery of yeast residues in ancient clay shards during excavations in Israel. These specimens, dating back to 3000 BC, were found in various locations, including Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and an Egyptian brewery near the Gaza Strip. Archaeologists and microbiologists have teamed up to study and resurrect ancient yeast. Researchers were able to bring yeast colonies back to life and use them to create an ancient drink that tastes like the beer that the Philistines and Egyptians drank. For the experiment, scientists used recipes for ancient drinks, creating beer and mead. Some modern changes were made to the brewing process, such as the addition of hops, which were not present in the ancient Near East. This made it possible to create a drink with a unique taste, combining ancient traditions and modern technologies. According to Shmuel Naki, a brewer at the Jerusalem Beer Center, the drink tasted spicy, a little fruity, and very complex. Yeast played a key role in creating these flavor characteristics, confirming the importance of its use in brewing. The success of this experiment inspired scientists and brewers to further research. The team's plans include using the revived yeast to create new types of beer based on ancient recipes. This cooperation will not only expand the line of Israeli beer, but also provide a deeper understanding of the culture and traditions of ancient peoples. Grave of the Short Horses. French archaeologists discovered 9 large graves containing the remains of 28 6-year-old stallions buried on their right sides with their heads to the south and 2 dogs with their heads to the west. These finds, radiocarbon dated, date back to the end of the Roman conquest of Gaul and the beginning of the Roman Empire between the 1st century BC and 1st century AD. Experts are considering theories that the animals could have been buried after being killed in battle or as part of an elaborate ritual. The possibility of death from disease is unlikely, since only adult males were found in the graves. The remains are checked for parasites. The graves were found in Villedieu-sur-André in central France, where the foundations of ancient buildings, ditches, and a medieval road had previously been discovered. The first grave contained 10 complete horse skeletons, neatly arranged in 2 rows. A similar burial was found in 2002 in the Puy-de-Dôme, containing the remains of 8 warriors and their horses. Ancient structure in the Black Sea. Off the coast of Abkhazia, scientists, as part of an international underwater archaeological expedition, discovered important archaeological finds. Using special equipment and divers, they explored depths from 1 to 60 meters in the waters of the cities of Gudauta and Sukhum. The most significant find was the discovery of the remains of a medieval structure in Sukhumi Bay at the mouth of the Bezletka River, where the ancient city of Dioskuria was supposedly located. In this area, where an ancient stele had previously been found, archaeologists discovered semicircular masonry, probably a tower with attached walls. It is made of large pebbles with lime mortar. The masonry contains ceramics. Due to the large amount of sand and silt in the water, it was difficult to photograph the object, so a detailed survey of it is planned for 2024 to 2025. In the waters of the city of Gudauta, archaeologists found many vessels from the ancient and medieval periods, including an amphora at a depth of 50 meters. Tried to treat cancer. A study of 2 ancient skulls yielded surprising results. They showed signs of cancer and traces of attempts to treat it. These findings show that the ancient Egyptians knew about cancer and tried to fight it. Signs of this disease included severe tissue destruction and small metastases. Particularly interesting are the cut marks around the lesions, suggesting that the Egyptians may have attempted to remove the tumors surgically. The ancient Egyptians were famous for their medical knowledge. They knew how to treat fractures, treat injuries, make prosthetics, and even fill teeth. However, their ability to treat cancer was limited. Scientists studied 2 skulls from the Duckworth collection at the University of Cambridge. One skull belonged to a 35-year-old man with signs of cancer and surgical interventions. The other skull belonged to a woman over 50 years old with cancerous lesions and signs of healed injuries. The researchers stressed that studying ancient remains is fraught with difficulties, with incomplete skeletons and a lack of clinical history making conclusions difficult. However, these findings provide new insights into ancient medical practices and highlight the need for further research in paleontology. Remains of a mammoth in Kyrgyzstan. On June 2nd, a tusk and fragments of the lower jaw of a mammoth were discovered in the floodplain of the Jurgalan River in the Issyk-Kul region of Kyrgyzstan. Archaeologists who arrived at the request of the Ministry of Culture found that the fragments were located at a depth of 5 meters and at a distance of 150 meters from each other. Due to the poor state of preservation of the bones, archaeologists took extra care to ensure their preservation, as bones deteriorate quickly when exposed to sunlight. Specialists were able to extract only part of the skull, which was cleaned and preserved on site. The discovery of remains in 2 different locations in the same quarry indicates that the area is promising for future finds. Officials called on citizens to ensure the safety of historical and cultural heritage sites and report findings to archaeologists. Ancient image of psychoactive mushrooms. The Tassili in Eger cave, located in the southeastern part of Algeria, is a real treasure trove of prehistoric art. This site is known for its rich rock art spanning thousands of years. Particularly noteworthy is a painting created about 9,000 years ago depicting a shaman with psychedelic mushrooms. This unique artifact provides a window into the spiritual and cultural practices of ancient hunter-gatherers. This painting was first documented by French archaeologist Henri Lotte and his team in the 1950s. They were amazed by the brightness and complexity of the images, among which stood out the figure of a shaman with mushrooms of the genus psilocybe, known for their psychoactive properties. The shaman is depicted with an ornate headdress and war paint indicating his ritual role. The shaman's posture and facial expression clearly demonstrate a state of trance. Psychedelic mushrooms played an important role in shamanic rituals, as evidenced by numerous examples from various cultures. In ancient societies, shamans used mushrooms to achieve an altered state of consciousness and communicate with the spirit world. The Tassili cave paintings indicate that similar practices existed in North Africa. The image of a shaman surrounded by mushrooms and other symbols carries a deep meaning. The headdress and coloring emphasize the high status of the shaman in society, and the mushrooms emphasize their sacred role in rituals. The trance state indicates the shaman's journey beyond the physical world, which was an important part of their spiritual practice. Guillotine of Caravaggio's Sanctuary. The guillotine was proposed as a humane method of execution by Dr. Joseph Guillotin in 1791. He believed that it would provide a quick and painless decapitation, unlike other methods that could cause long and painful agony due to the lack of skill of the executioner. However, long before the French Revolution, this device was already used in other countries. In Ireland and Scotland, the guillotine was called the Scottish Maid, in France, the furniture of justice, and in Italy it was known as the mandala. In one of the cellars in Italy, in the sanctuary of Santa Maria del Fonte, in the village of Caravaggio, there is a guillotine that predates the French Revolution by more than 2 centuries. The sanctuary of Santa Maria del Fonte is famous for the legend of the appearance of Saint Mary to the shepherdess on May 26, 1432. Under this monumental structure, there is a corridor divided into 5 sections. One of them contains a primitive guillotine associated with the legend of the miracle. In 1520, a robber sentenced to death repented and asked Mary for forgiveness. It is said that the guillotine refused to behead him, sparing his life. This is one of the miracles associated with Saint Mary. The guillotine in the sanctuary is different from the French one. It is small and primitive. The blade was secured under a heavy log which was released and slid along the guides, decapitating the condemned man. Ancient wolf from permafrost. During an expedition in Siberia, an incredible discovery was made. An ancient wolf, surprisingly well preserved in permafrost. The discovered carcass of a wolf at a depth of about 40 meters near the Terektiak River in the Abiysky region of Yakutia was transferred to the Mammoth Museum in Yakutsk for further research. The condition of the wolf amazed scientists. After 44,000 years, fur, bones, organs, and even terrifying teeth were preserved. Experts are calling the discovery unprecedented because it is the oldest known wolf to undergo a necropsy. They hope that studying the stomach and other organs will shed light on the wolf's diet and environment. The stomach remained isolated and free of contaminants, providing an instant snapshot of ancient Pleistocene biota. Examination of its contents can reveal not only what the wolf ate, but also its prey. Judging by the wear of the teeth and the development of the sagittal ridge, it has already been established that this is an adult male. The study of ancient bacteria could help in the development of new drugs and biotech products, highlighting the enormous significance of this discovery for the future. This discovery not only reveals the secrets of the ancient world, but also opens up new horizons for science and medicine. Ancient Roman coins in Israel. A recent discovery by archaeologists in Lod, central Israel, provides invaluable insight into the life of Jews in the ancient Roman era. During excavations, impressive stone and marble artifacts, inscriptions in Greek, Latin, and Hebrew, and a treasure of 94 coins were found among the ruins of the building. These finds, especially the absence of pig bones among the animal remains, indicate the building's connection to the Jewish community. Experts date the find to the time of the Jewish uprising against Constantius Gallus in 354 AD. Historians claim that the treasure was hidden during the uprising. Written evidence of these events is scanty, but it is known that large Jewish communities such as Lod, Zippori, and Tiberias were destroyed by Roman troops. Two excavation experts, Shahar Crispin and Mor Wiesel, noted that the building likely served as a home for the city's elders. It was destroyed to the very foundation, which demonstrates the strength and brutality of the suppression of the uprising. According to experts, this is the only evidence of the scale of the uprising in Lod. This site was the most important Jewish center after the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. The building, destroyed to the foundation, confirms the significance of the uprising and its suppression. The findings prove that Lod is one of the oldest cities in the world with a rich Jewish heritage from the Tannaitic period, where the authors of the Mishnah lived. It is still difficult to determine the exact purpose of the building: a synagogue, an educational institution, or a meeting place for elders. However, the size of the building, treasure, and other finds correspond to the description of Lod in Jewish and non-Jewish sources, where it appears as the center of Jewish life in the era of the Mishnah and Talmud. George Washington canned fruit. Archaeologists have found convincing evidence of the love of the first U.S. President George Washington for canned fruits and berries, especially cherries. This unexpected discovery was made while exploring Washington's country estate. In underground storage facilities, archaeologists found 35 glass jars with canned fruit, of which 29 were completely intact. Even whole pieces of fruit were preserved in the bottles. Experts determined that 12 containers were filled with canned cherries, and the rest were probably filled with gooseberries and currants. Surprisingly, some fruits can even be edible after 250 years. This discovery is very impressive. Historical records document George Washington and his wife Martha's love of canned fruit, especially brandy-infused cherries. Martha Washington's Cherry Bounce cocktail recipe was also found. Archaeologists believe that the Washington servants and slaves were engaged in canning fruit. They possessed real skill, thanks to which the fruits have been preserved to this day. The cherry pits found will also be tested, and perhaps they will be used to grow trees that grew during Washington's lifetime. Alien creatures or unique people. In 2017, in a cave in the southern Peruvian city of Nazca, journalist and ufologist Jaime Mawson discovered 6 unusual mummies with elongated skulls and 3 fingers. He stated that they were alien creatures. The finds included 4 men, 1 woman, and an infant. Mawson presented the mummies before the Mexican Congress, claiming they were of alien origin. Despite his confidence, experts considered the mummies to be fakes. However, recent studies of one of the mummies, designated Maria M01, have yielded new unexpected results. Peruvian scientists analyzed Maria using electron microscopy and X-ray diffraction. It turned out that Maria has biological similarities with humans. Her bones smoothly pass under the mummified shell, and the elongated skull shows no signs of artificial deformation. The cranial vault shows atypical growth and development, and its volume is 30% greater than that of the average person. Maria is also distinguished by her lack of hair and ears, 3 fingers with 4 phalanges on her hands and feet, bulging eyes, and protruding jaws. Mary's feet have a unique structure. The calcaneus is different from a human's, suggesting it walked hunched over. Maria also suffered from arthritis and had a damaged spine. Maria lived during the same period as the Nazca civilization. This may indicate her connection with this culture. Previous DNA studies suggested that the mummies were modified remains of pre-Columbian people. The new study raises more questions than it answers. Scientists cannot accurately determine Mary's origins or her unique characteristics. Further research, including genetic tests, is needed to fully understand these remains. The fact that the ancient alien mummy bears many similarities to a real person further complicates understanding our past. Now it is even more difficult for us to understand who lived on our planet hundreds and thousands of years ago. Ancient treasure ship. The team of the One Expedition Research Project discovered a sunken Finnish ship from the late 19th, early 20th centuries at the bottom of Lake Ladoga at a depth of 34 meters. The ship sank, probably due to an explosion inside, which destroyed the wheelhouse. A binnacle, telegraph, and steering wheel were found on the deck. Ceramic cups with pearls were found in the hold. The ship features a Leviathan symbol on both sides, which may indicate its pirate past. The finds also included a ship's bell, ceramic vessels, a porcelain wash basin, and bricks with the inscription Höganäs, made in Sweden. The discovered artifacts will be sent to the Underwater Heritage Center for further study. These finds may shed light on the history and purpose of this mysterious vessel, which is of great interest to scientists. Communion set. A research project by the National Archaeological Institute made a rare find near Lake Tisa, a silver communion set and a hoard of 70 silver coins. These artifacts were discovered at the site of the ruins of a Benedictine abbey discovered in 2023. The silver set, consisting of a bowl and wafer stand, dates from the 14th century and was probably part of a burial. In addition, a treasure of 70 silver coins dating from the 13th and 14th centuries was found by volunteers during excavations. These finds indicate the rich history of the region and its importance in the Middle Ages. The Archaeometric Laboratory continues work on the analysis and restoration of these valuable finds. Artifacts dating from prehistoric times to the present day will provide insight into the history of the region and its role in Hungarian history. 5,000-year-old dwarven village. The village of Makunik, located on the border with Afghanistan, is unique for its small houses built thousands of years ago. The height of these houses does not exceed 1.5 meters, and modern Iranians can barely enter them without bending over. Inside these houses, local residents stood tall, as their height did not exceed 1.5 meters. The small stature of the inhabitants was due to a lack of food and vitamins, which slowed down the growth of bones. Also, marriages between close relatives due to isolation and lack of funds for travel contributed to this. Life in the village was difficult. The soil was poor, and the inhabitants grew only low-maintenance crops such as turnips and barley. The situation has changed with the development of infrastructure in Iran. The construction of roads made it possible to deliver a variety of food products to the village, including meat and grains. This resulted in each generation becoming 10 centimeters taller. Modern residents of Makunik are tall and healthy people thanks to subsidies and government support. Today, 700 people live in Makunika next to the small houses of their ancestors. They continue to farm, but now their bodies are strong and tall. The village's history illustrates how harsh conditions and poor soil made the inhabitants Lilliputians, and the development of infrastructure and government support restored them to normal growth and health. 1,000-year-old collection of medieval games. Archaeologists have discovered a collection of medieval gaming items in a forgotten castle in southern Germany. Among the finds are a well-preserved chess piece, game pieces, and bones dating from the 11th to 12th centuries. These items provide a unique insight into early gaming culture. Particularly significant is the found chess piece in the form of a knight, which dates back to the early period of the spread of chess in Europe. Laboratory tests showed that one of the sides played with red pieces. Traces of use on the figure indicate that the rules of the game have been preserved to this day. In the Middle Ages, chess was one of the 7 skills that a good knight had to master. This explains why many chess piece finds come from castles. In addition to the chess piece, floral game pieces and a 6-dot dice carved from antlers were found. These artifacts, found under the rubble of the wall, allow scientists to gain a deeper understanding of the gaming culture of the medieval nobility. In the future, the researchers plan to conduct further analyses to learn more about the origins of European chess and the significance of the games in the lives of medieval knights. List of Roman centurions. Polish archaeologists have discovered unique papyri with lists of Roman centurions who served in Egypt in the ancient port of Berenice. These rare documents were found along with Italian pottery, Roman coins, and a special buckle in the ruined office of a centurion. Berenice, located on the Red Sea, was built by Emperor Tiberius after the annexation of Egypt by Rome. The discovered papyri contain letters from centurions with the names Caesus, Licinius, and Petronius. In one of the letters, Petronius asks Licinius about the prices of exclusive goods and instructs them to be sent with legionaries on camels. These letters provide unique insight into the trade and daily life of the Roman military. Artifacts found alongside the papyri include Roman coins, brooches, and pottery from Italy, the Mediterranean, Africa, and India, demonstrating Berenice's importance as a trading port. The papyri were found on the western outskirts of Berenice in a unique zoological cemetery where numerous islands were also found, fragments of texts on ceramics. These finds shed light on the presence of Roman legionaries in Egypt and the importance of Berenice in the ancient Roman trade network. There's madness in his eyes. During excavations in Herculaneum, a city destroyed by the eruption of Vesuvius in 79 AD, an ancient bronze bust of the Roman Emperor Caligula was found. The 12-centimeter high bust was discovered in the 17th century, but its trace was later lost for almost 200 years. Experts believe that the bust was cast shortly before or after Caligula's death, about 2,000 years ago. The bust of Caligula depicts him with a high forehead, thin lips, a small mouth, and a prominent chin. The eyes of the sculpture unmistakably convey the madness that is often associated with this emperor. Caligula, the third representative of the Julio-Claudian dynasty, is known for his riotous lifestyle and incest. He was killed in 41 AD as a result of a palace coup. After its initial discovery, the bust was given as a gift to the famous English writer and politician Horace Walpole. Walpole admired the expressiveness of Caligula's face, believing that the emperor was captured at the beginning of his madness. The bust was kept in Walpole's mansion, Strawberry Hill House, and after his death passed through hands until it disappeared for 200 years. The bust was recently rediscovered by Oxford University historian Sylvia Davoli, calling the event fascinating. Each object found helps to better understand the life of the ancient Romans. The bust of Caligula is an important archaeological find that sheds light on Roman history and culture. Large-scale horse burials. French archaeologists recently made a surprising discovery in Villiers-sur-Indre, discovering 9 large burials containing the remains of horses that lived about 2,000 years ago. The burials contain 28 horses, carefully placed on their right sides with their heads facing south. The remains of 2 dogs were found nearby with their heads facing west. These finds date back to the period of the Gallic Wars, approximately between 100 BC and 100 AD, when Julius Caesar was actively engaged in military operations. The burials attracted the attention of archaeologists for their features. The horses, only 1.2 meters tall, were typical of Gallic breeds. The method of their burial was similar to those previously found in other regions of France, indicating a possible ritual or ceremonial nature. Interestingly, all the horses found were adults, which rules out common diseases as the cause of their death. Scientists from France's National Institute for Preventive Archaeological Research are analyzing the bones to determine whether the horses died in battle or were part of an elaborate ritual. To solve the mystery, researchers took DNA samples from the bones and surrounding sediments to determine whether the horses were Gallic or used by Roman units. Ruins of an American hospital in France. Archaeologists have discovered the ruins of an American military hospital in Gagnery-du-Tertre, the commune of Savonnex in northwestern France. This medical facility was built to prevent American soldiers from being dependent on French hospitals. During World War I, several hundred of these hospitals were built across the country, ranging from field hospitals to large complexes, capable of treating up to 25,000 wounded and sick. The excavations found medical vials, combs, buttons, a smoking pipe, a medical clip, a razor, a watch case, cups, and shoes. These artifacts provide insight into daily life in the hospital. The hospitals were strategically located near the ports of Nantes and Saint-Nazaire, close to the main railway lines. American hospital complexes functioned as self-contained cities with their own sewerage and water supplies. Some even had their own railway connections. The excavation site was divided into two parts. One was a fenced area to protect the hospital, the other was 20 pits with construction waste and artifacts. If you want to learn more about ancient artifacts and events in our history, then be sure to subscribe to the channel and tell your friends about us. Thanks for your views. Bye, everyone.